Hello and welcome to Maths by SAS. This is my 7th lesson of D3 chapter number 2 exercise 2b, that is about inverse function. In this lesson I will find the inverse of rational functions. Before going to the lesson, it's important to understand that what is the meaning of word rational numbers and rational functions. Rational numbers and rational functions. We know that the rational numbers are the numbers that can be written in form of the fraction p over q, where q should not be equal to 0. Because what is the reason that the denominator q should not be equal to 0? Because if we are replacing 0 in the denominator, my fraction will become undefined. So that's why when we are finding the inverse of rational functions, we have to take the special care that we should not give those values to the variable of the function for which the denominator will become 0, because due to that the function will become undefined. This point is really important to understand when you will be drawing the graph of rational functions. While constructing the table values, you should not give those values to x for which your function will become undefined, and that point will call the point of discontinuity. Let's move to question number 10. Question 10 says, given that the function f of x equals to 5x upon 2 minus 4x, where x is not equal to 1 by 2, find f inverse of x and state the value of x for which f inverse of x is not defined, and hence find f inverse of 4 and f inverse of minus 6. Here it's important to understand that why the question is saying that x should not be equal to 1 by 2, because when I am replacing x by 1 by 2, 4 into 1 by 2 will become 2 and 2 minus 2 will become 0, and this is the denominator. So the denominator of the function will become 0. So the whole function will become undefined. So that's why we should not give value of x to 1 by 2, and we can take any other value of x. Now we have to first find the inverse of this function. So if you find any difficulty in understanding the method of how to find the inverse of any function, you can watch my previous lesson in which I have given a detailed explanation with easy 4 steps that how to find the inverse of function. Let's take the function. The given function is f of x equals to 5x upon 2 minus 4x. In order to find the inverse of this function, we have to suppose that let f of x equals to y, or x equals to f inverse y. Now instead of f of x, I have to replace y equal to 5x upon 2 minus 4x. Now what I have to do, I have to make x the subject of formula. So first shift 2 minus 4x to other side. It will become y into 2 minus 4x equals to 5x. Now what I have to do, I have to multiply this y with every term inside the bracket, and the equation will take the form 2y minus 4xy equals to 5x. Now the letter that I want to make the subject of formula is on both sides. So I have to make all like terms on the same side, and the equation will take the form 2y equals to 5x plus 4xy. Now we can see that x is the common letter. We can extract it out, we can pull it out. So the equation will take the form 2y equals to 5 plus 4y into x. Now as we need to find value of x, so what we will be doing, we will be shifting this 5 plus 4y to other side. So it will appear in the denominator of 2y upon 5 plus 4y equals to x, or x can be written on the left hand side, x equals to 2y upon 5 plus 4y. Now as we know that instead of x we have to replace f inverse of y. F inverse y equals to 2y upon 5 plus 4y. This is the inverse of this function, as I have to give the final answer in form of the original question. So f inverse x equals to 2x upon 5 plus 4x. I hope you are clear about that how we have to find the inverse of rational function. And now the next part says that state the value of x for which f inverse of x is not defined. That means we have to give and find that value of x for which the denominator becomes 0, and we can see if you find difficulty in finding that value for which the denominator becomes 0, what you can do, you can equate the denominator to 0. 5 plus 4x equals to 0, and find value of x. 4x equals to minus 5 and x equals to minus 5 by 4. And if I'm replacing over here minus 5 by 4, let me check whether it becomes 0 or not. 4 into minus 5 by 4, this will be going, and so the value of x for which the denominator becomes 0 or f inverse is not defined, so x should not be equal to minus 5 by 4. This is the value for which x should not be equal to minus 5 by 4. F inverse x will not be defined for x equals to minus 5 by 4. So f inverse x is not defined for x equals to minus 5 by 4. And again I am telling you what is the reason, that when I am putting x equals to minus 5 by 4, the denominator becomes 0, and when the denominator becomes 0, function becomes infinity. So we should not take those values in the denominator which makes the denominator 0. I hope you are clear about this part. Let's move to the next part of the question, that says to evaluate f inverse of minus 4, f inverse of 4. So for this, what I have to do, I have to take the function f inverse of x. F inverse of x equals to 2x upon 5 plus 4x. Instead of the variable, I have to replace 4. F inverse of 4 equals to 2 multiplied by 4 upon 5 plus 4 multiplied by 4. This will give me 8 upon 5 plus 16. 16 plus 4, 20, and 1, 21. So f inverse of 4 equals to 8 by 21. I hope you are clear about this part. Let's move to the next part of the question, and that says f inverse of minus 6. The second part is f inverse of minus 6, that I have to evaluate f inverse of minus 6 equals to what? Again, I have to take the function f inverse of x equals to 2x upon 5 plus 4x. Instead of the variable, instead of the input, I have to replace I have to replace minus 6. 2 multiplied by minus 6 upon 5 plus 4 into minus 6, and it will become 2. This is a sign of multiplication. Minus 12 upon 5 minus 24. 24 minus 5, 14 minus 5 is 9, minus 12 by minus 19. So F inverse of minus 6 equals to 12 by 19. I hope you are clear about this question. Let's move to the next question. Question number 11. Let's read the question first. Question says that given that the function f of x is 3x minus 1 upon x minus 2 and x is not equal to 2, find f inverse of x and state the value of x for which f inverse of x is not defined, and hence evaluate f inverse of 5 and f inverse of 7. Before finding the f inverse of 5 and f inverse of 7, we have to find the inverse of this given function. So let's move to the solution of this question. Given function is f of x equals to 3x minus 1 upon x minus 2. We know that in order to find the inverse of this function, we have to suppose or let f of x equals to y and x equals to f inverse y. X equals to f inverse of y. So instead of f of x, I have to replace y equals to 3x minus 1 upon x minus 2. Now I have to make x the subject of formula. First shift this x minus 2 to other side. Equation will take the form y into x minus 2 equals to 3x minus 1. Now multiply this y with every term inside the bracket, and the equation will take the form xy minus 2y equals to 3x minus 1. Now the letter x that we want to make the subject of formula is on both sides. So we have to shift all like terms on the same side and preferably on the left hand side. So the equation will take the form xy minus 3x, and this 2y is extra. So I have to shift it to other side by changing the sign, and the equation will take the form 2y minus 1. Now we can see that this x is common factor here. So you must have to apply all learned techniques. So when I will be pulling out x, equation will take the form x outside y minus 3 equals to 2y minus 1. Now in order to get value of x, shift this y minus 3 to other side, and the equation will take the form x equals to 2y minus 1 upon y minus 3. Now we know that instead of x, I have to replace f inverse of y. F inverse of y equals to 2y minus 1 upon y minus 3. Or what I can do, I can write the inverse of the function in form of the original variable, that is f inverse x equals to 2x minus 1 upon x minus 3. I hope you are clear about this part, that how to find the inverse of the rational function. Now the next part says state the value of x for which f inverse x is not defined. For the understanding of this part, we have to focus our attention on the denominator of the function or the fraction. We should not give those values to the denominator for which the denominator becomes 0, because when the denominator becomes 0, the fraction becomes infinity. So the value of x for which f inverse is not defined, So x should not be equal to 3. This is the value of x for which f inverse of x is not defined. So f inverse x is not defined for x equals to 3. I hope you are clear about this question. Let's move to the next part that says that we have to evaluate f inverse of 5. So in order to evaluate f inverse of 5, I have to take the inverse of this question, and the function given is f inverse of x equals to 2x minus 1 upon x minus 3. Instead of the input, instead of the variable, I have to replace 5, and the equation will take the form f inverse of 5, 2 multiplied by 5 minus 1 upon 5 minus 3, and this is equal to 10 minus 1 upon 2, which is equal to 9 by 2. As 9 is bigger than 2, numerator is larger than denominator, so better to give the answer in mixed number, which is equal to 4 whole 1 by 2. So f inverse of 5 is equal to 4 whole 1 by 2. I hope this part is really easy and clear to you. And now let's move to the last part of this question that says that we have to find f inverse of 7. F inverse, we have to evaluate the inverse at 7. Again, I have to take the inverse function f inverse of x equals to 2x minus 1 upon x minus 3. Replace x by 7. So equation will take the form 2 multiplied by 7 minus 1 upon 7 minus 3, which equals to 7 times 2 is 14 minus 1 upon 7 minus 3 is 4, 13 by 4, 13, and which is equal to 3 whole 1 by 4. So f inverse of 7 equals to 3 whole 1 by 4. I hope you are clear about this lesson. For next difficulty level, please catch me in the next class. Watch my lessons, like, share and subscribe the channel, and press bell icon to get the notification of every lesson in time. Thank you very much.